Welcome back, welcome back. Well, this week was billed as something of a breather in the helter-skelter race for the US White House, in advance of next week's massive showdown on Super Tuesday, when more than 20 states will vote. But it didn't turn out that way, because two of the biggest candidates, Republican Rudy Giuliani and Democrat John Edwards, didn't wait until next week before pulling out of the race. They didn't know the rules. They had to wait till next week to build up Super Tuesday. It means that Tuesday may not be so super at all. And joining me now to assess the week's events is political commentator Charlie Wolf. Charlie, who should we start with? Which of the breakthroughs or the break-offs? Rudy Giuliani, were you surprised about that?
Yes and no. I think he tried to go against conventional wisdom, and we didn't hear from Giuliani. It's better to get in at the early stages and at least even come second somewhere.
Yeah, and the key thing is that he loses all that free publicity.
Yes.
Even if it's little old Iowa's caucuses, it's massive coverage all over the country.
But it did for Obama, yeah. Obama's a case in point about what Iowa can do.
Well, come on to the other one then, who went John Edwards.
Yes.
Now, I mean, he's always looked a lagging third, hasn't he?
Very much.
But only a few days earlier, he was saying, "I'm in this race for the long haul."
I always had maintained that his ego would have kept him in it. He wasn't short of at least personal funding to go through Super Tuesday. He was seeing himself as a bit of a kingmaker.
With the people who they might endorse, for instance, they don't have the power to switch delegates. The delegates are free, aren't they? I mean,
I'm not quite sure on how the individuals work. Yeah, I'm not sure if one can give. There can be some horse trading of delegates. There can be some things going on in the back rooms of the conventions. But then again, it may or may not be needed. Two very interesting strategies, I think, that are going on. On the Democratic side, it's interesting what Obama is doing, if you'll notice, is he's going after the small states. And I think what he figures is going to happen, the two of them, Hillary and Obama, she'll probably win the bigger states, but proportionally, it'll be split down the middle. So she may get the popular vote and can say, yes, I've won New York, I've won California, etc. But delegate-wise, they may each come out with 50%, 45, 65, some sort of a breakdown like that. What he's hoping for is to go after the smaller states where she's not competing. He'll pick up those extra couple of delegates, which could put him over the top and win the thing. I'm not sure on that. I still think it's going to be Hillary's.
You think it'll be Hillary, and in the Republican?
On the Republican side, it's still hard to call. I mean, obviously, yes, McCain has had a heck of a fill-up in the last couple days. The endorsements he's had from Giuliani, Schwarzenegger, these are all on the liberal side of the party. So I think Romney is in it, but he's injured.
Do you think that all four of the current candidates will, it sounds like an article from a sex magazine, go all the way? Will all four of them?
Oh, yeah. You will definitely see them going until someone gets enough delegates. And it could happen on Super Tuesday. It may go beyond. We may see, of course, Texas has a primary coming up after Super Tuesday, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. I don't know if it'll go right to the convention, but it's going to go beyond Super Tuesday. These people are in it to win it.
Charlie, thank you very much.
Thanks.
We'll see you soon.
Good.
Now, from the United States to Gaza. Last week, after days and months of dire shortages, Palestinian militants blew a hole through the wall that separates Gaza from Egypt. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians flooded across the border. They claimed to stock up on vital supplies, food, fuel, medicine. A week later, the border remains open. What now needs to be done by Palestine, by Israel, by Egypt, by anybody else? And what will the effect be on the ongoing peace process? Today I'm joined by Manuel Hassassian, the PLO ambassador to the UK, and by Hassassian Prosor, the Israeli ambassador to the UK, to discuss what the future holds for Gaza. Starting, both of you, with the question, I mean, who do you blame for this situation, or is it a good situation?
First of all, it's not a good situation because this will exacerbate the convulsive violence that we have been, suffering from the last 6 months. And after Annapolis, we thought that we are re-engaged back in a political process where basically Palestinians and Israelis will start dealing with the kernel issues, with the central issues. Unfortunately, what happened basically in post-Annapolis, things broke loose.
Well, I'll put it this way. I'll start with something which I think me and Mr. Hassassian agree about, and that is that there are many on both sides who really want to reach peace and negotiate. Moderates who really focus on finding a solution. But there are those, and I have to emphasize, and Hamas is one of them, who really are trying to do everything they can to reach their objectives with violence and with power. They behave to their brothers and sisters, hence their own people, in an appalling way. And what happened was that Gaza has become a launching pad for missiles against its villages. We have been bombarded by Qassam rockets, hundreds of rockets on a daily basis. And what has happened is that any government has a first and foremost to defend its citizens. And that is why we try to do that in Gaza. The situation as we see it now is not positive, but hopefully together we'll be able to work out to make sure that the passages work in a serious way.
But doesn't it look at the moment as though both for human terms and for the results for Israel, that blockading Gaza was a mistake?
I don't think so, because it's the question of context and alternatives.
The situation here, you mentioned Hamas, of course. It seems as though Hamas has emerged stronger from this process at the end of the week than at the beginning. But do you think there is a danger that, in fact, Hamas will set up a separate Islamic state away from your West Bank state, but they could try and set up an Islamic republic in what was Gaza, call it something else?
Well, first of all, I think it is premature to judge that. But what's happening, on the ground is that Hamas is in total control of Gaza now, militarily. Regardless of the fact that my president, Mahmoud Abbas, has been helping the 1.5 million Palestinians living in Gaza. And during the last 6 months, 58% of our public expenditure was spent on Gaza, in terms of supplying, yes, shortages of food and all the problems that the Gazans are facing. Paying salaries to public employees and what have you has been done by my president. However, we have to bear in mind that, first of all, taking the excuse of the launching of rockets, of which we totally disapprove, we condemn as Palestinian Authority. We see this as negative to the peace process and to what is going on. We don't approve it and we condemn it. However, that should not exonerate Israel from its responsibilities of putting a blockade over 1.5 million Palestinians and trying to treat them, all of them, as terrorists and Hamas. With this blockade that they have, and they have created the loss of 70,000 jobs, the demolition of 300 houses. We have today shortages of medical supplies. It's a humanitarian disaster.
One question here, we've mentioned Egypt several times. I mean, would one solution be, would you welcome this, Ron? What if Gaza joined Egypt?
I think...
merged with Egypt.
I understand. Israel and Egypt, we have a strategic relationship. And the peace that Israel has with Egypt have defined borders which have been reached in a peace agreement between Israel and Egypt. We have to make absolutely certain that we keep this border. It's important for the stability of the region and also the relations between Israel and its Arab neighbors on the long run, not only on the short run.
Alas, we're at the end of our time. Manuel.
What I would like to say to Ambassador Prosor is the fact that by the year 2010, if Israel continues with its settlement policies and the building of the wall and the bypass roads, half of the West Bank will be merged into Israel proper. If we believe in a two-state solution, by allowing what's happening in Gaza with the blockade, by giving, you know, the chance for Hamas to take over, and by continuing with its creeping annexation of the West Bank, we are aborting, Israel in particular, aborting the two-state solution. And by doing that, they are disempowering President Mahmoud Abbas for real negotiations.
Well, we're right at the end of our time. You've got both different options there in what we've heard. We need more time next time. We'll do it longer next time. All right. Thank you both very much. It's a crucial subject, Gaza, and a complex and perhaps an insoluble subject. But we will return to it. In a moment, I'll be talking to the controversial Muslim writer and filmmaker Irshad Manji. That's after the news headlines, which are next.